Hey guys, so I'm trying something new today, which is this Himi Gouache. I think that's how you say it. I've heard different people pronounce it differently, but I'm going to go with gouache. I bought this from Amazon and I think it was $28.99. I've never used this before, so it's my first time trying it. I'm just going to review it, see what it's like, and if it's worth the money. There were two options. There was either 18 colours or 24 like I have, which is 30 ml of paint altogether. It also comes with this palette and 3 different size brushes. As there is 30 ml altogether, this works out to about 1.25 ml in each individual section. Each one of these came individually wrapped. Some of the lids were more difficult than others to get off. Also, some of the paint would get stuck to the lids, which was fine. Like here, there isn't that much, but on others there was quite a large amount, which obviously you don't want to waste your money, but it is quite difficult to scrape it off, so I just ended up throwing all the lids in the bin. By opening the third colour, I was already getting into a bit of a mess, so I had to keep washing my hands, but I'm just going to open the rest of these colours and then come back. So this was the order that the paints originally came in, but I prefer mine to be in colour order, either from lightest to darkest, or just in the order of a rainbow. So I took all of these out in a very weird way, try not to get any more paint on my hands, but as you can see it's just all over my nails instead. So I took these out and rearranged them all and then put them all back in. I started testing the paints using the thinner brush, but I didn't really like it, so I changed to the more square shaped one that came with the pack. All I was doing here was mixing the paints with some water to see what the different strengths looked like and how they would act compared to acrylic paint or watercolour. I also tried blending them and trying using a dry paintbrush to see what the texture would look like. For me, I think that these paints are like a cross between acrylic and watercolour, but they feel like oil paints when you put them down first. I drew a really simple picture for me to paint, but I struggled a bit with getting the right background colour, and I was mixing for a lot longer than you're seeing here. This is my really quick, simple sketch of two cacti. Don't know which way it is, but I didn't want to do anything too difficult or advanced because this is my first time using the paints. For the background, I watered the paint down quite a bit because it seemed to not spread that easily and it showed quite a bit of brush strokes, so I watered it down and it was a lot easier to use. I think I mixed 3 different shades of green and 3 different shades of pink tanny colours for the pot. I didn't use that many colours just because it didn't need that many in this picture, but every colour that I do use, I'm just doing a little swatch at the top of the page. The darker green that I'm putting down here, I do end up changing later for a lighter shade. The only thing with this that I realised was that once it was dry and I tried overlapping it with the different colour, it did start to smudge with the other one, and even if I let that dry again, the layers would still just start mixing together. You can see here that this is where I went over the darker green quite a few times, went to a different bit of the picture and came back to let it dry. it still was just smudging in different areas, so I ended up just leaving it how it is. I mixed 3 of these tanny, whatever colour you'd call this, but for the pot I used 3 different colours. I had the darkest on the right and the lightest shade on the left, so that's as if where the light would be coming from. Now I'm just putting on little details, so putting the spikes on. Lastly, I'm just taking the tape off of the edges. The only annoying thing with this was that some of the paper got stuck to the tape, which it isn't meant to because it is masking tape, but it did rip some of the paper up with it, so it's not perfect. The only thing I would say about these is they're not great for layering on top of each other, but other than that, there are some really pretty colours in the palette, and I definitely think that practice will make things a lot easier and you start to get used to using them. But overall, it's a good in between from acrylic and watercolour.